I think that the thing that will separate us as photographers in 2025, and not just photographers, business owners as a whole, is going to be our ability to utilize AI in a way that feels good and ethical and efficient.
Okay.
While making it easier for us to be humans.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Rolling down the river.
Welcome back to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. My name is Tim. This is Lindsay. We are here to help you with your photography and photography-based business questions. We're both professional photographers. You knew that already. You clicked the link. Maybe. If you're new here.
It'd be weird if you got forced into it somehow.
Welcome. Today's episode is all about making 2025 yo bitch.
Yo bitch.
Sorry, Mom. We always roll the magic 8 ball because everyone needs a higher power. There it is. And then I know you had a story this week you wanted to share with everyone that I found very interesting.
God.
I'd love you to dive in a bit deeper on it. But,
Tim, okay. So first of all, what question do you want to ask the magic 8 ball?
I want to know if all these tips and tricks we're about to give you, dear listener, will work for 2025, making it your bitch.
Heck yeah.
In like the nicest way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Consensual bitch.
Consensually making it. Oh, there's so much oxygen in this thing. I think for Christmas we should have bought ourselves a new 8 ball.
It's a bit too late.
It is
Decidedly so.
What would you say that says? Hard to say.
Oh God.
The
Hello,
8 ball
Pete.
is literally on its last legs, you guys.
Hello, Pete. That's
It
what I'm
says
reading.
hello, Pete. Okay, well, yeah. So basically, the 8 ball says
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I can say yes, definitely.
okay.
Wow, that's bad. Wish
It's
you could
really
see
bad.
that.
Yeah. I'm not even sure how that's possible. Probably because we've dropped it so many
bajillion
times.
times,
But whatever. We're not perfect people.
Speak for
Okay,
yourself.
so listen to this.
I want to hear it.
Listen to this. So I'm in a Facebook group.
Yep.
I was cruising through it this morning as I do when I'm just, doom scrolling. And I'm 34. I'm still on Facebook. So
Dude.
sue me, okay? And I'm in a few photography Facebook groups, and it's pretty much all I use Facebook for is to check in with my own Facebook group, which, minor plug, photography business with Lindsay Coulter on Facebook. If you want to join, it's nice. And then, there's Ben Hartley has a really great group. Taylor Jackson has a really great group.
Fantastic
the
group.
Unscripted posing app.
Yep.
I would say the Unscripted group is if you are maybe a newer photographer, that's generally what I see in there.
Yeah.
Or people that it's not necessarily their full-time capacity thing, just based on the conversations that are being had in there. Let me tell you about the post that I saw this morning.
Tell me
I
about
simply died. So I was going to say this is a judgment-free zone, but no, I'm going to judge this one. And I'm judging the entire community for how this could have possibly become a thing that this woman thought was an acceptable choice. But someone posted in this Facebook group saying that she was shooting a wedding. She had some baby brain. The bride's walking down the aisle, and I guess the photographer's pregnant. She had a brain malfunction. I think that could have happened, pregnancy or not. And she forgot to turn and get the groom's reaction.
Yeah.
And so she was asking the group, are there any tools or ways that I could use AI to make just one photo of his reaction to the bride walking down the aisle? And I think it really comes down to, can you or should you?
Yeah.
Would be my main question. I haven't commented on it because I literally feel honestly, it's a podcast episode is my response.
Yeah.
It's too long. It's literally too long. I'm just going to respond with a link to this and be like, okay,
Here's the intro.
here's the intro to our podcast, and I'm so sorry for shaming you. I'm sure that she's feeling some anxiety
For
about
sure.
oh shit, I missed this photo.
Yes.
What can I do? And a couple of years ago, people might have said, oh, well, do you have a reaction photo from another part of the day that you could just time shift and make it look like it happened at that time? That would be my personal, if you had to do it.
Yeah.
But can we not just say that was not reality?
Yeah, we can.
Hey, and are we going to go to Mid-Journey? Okay, you're going to take a photo of the groom.
Yep.
And you're going to take a photo of the groom from the ceremony, same lighting scenario, whatever, of him looking at
But they're
his...
not photorealistic. They look like this animated version of someone. It looks like a Bob's Burgers
And then
character
what are you going to
almost.
do? Literally
Yeah.
type in, make it look like the groom's reacting to his bride. You're going to get the spookiest things. He's going to be fake crying.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Yeah.
I wish that, for those of you listening, I'm making just the
He's
most
gonna have
heinous faces.
Tom Cruise teeth where one's kind of misaligned. He's gonna have
4
16
hands.
fingers.
Yeah. It's not going to be good.
No.
And even if it was flawless.
Yeah.
even if it was literally the best, because that's where we're going. We are going to a direction
Best
in
case
AI
scenario.
where you could make it look realistic. It
Yeah.
could match the graininess of your photo. It could match the, awkward lighting scenario of
Yeah.
your photo, of all the real life elements. But the thing that it cannot recreate is his actual literal reaction to his freaking wife walking down the aisle. And it shouldn't. It's so spooky.
Yeah.
I'm literally spooked by it.
It screams
and I
like-
truly hope that 2024 is the last year of us trying.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
We're trying to figure out AI. I get it.
Yeah, it's
and
brand
as,
new.
As we figure out AI, we're trying to figure out what the
where the borders are, where the lines are, where we can actually put our
Yeah.
feet into this product without it becoming a different art form altogether.
Yes,
We're
the
still using it
ethical
as a-
boundaries, all
Yeah.
of that. I've been doing this for long enough to know that like every single photo you think is like a need to have,
Yeah.
it's not that necessary. And I say this with the caveat of course, we always try our best.
To get all those pivotal moments from the
Pivotal
day.
moments.
Yep.
Bride walking down the aisle. Sorry,
Absolutely.
this is a same-sex couple in my brain here. But
Yeah.
a bride walking down the aisle, she's looking at her groom.
Yep.
Groom's looking at her. Okay. And if you've got a shot list with 300 photos on it, in an ideal world, I'm looking to get 250 of them.
Yeah.
And I am not going to sacrifice reality
No.
for my ability to get that shot. And I mean that even during the wedding. So
Yeah.
like if the bride is walking down at such a clip that it would sacrifice, you're just doing constant mental math on a wedding day. I feel like I am so drained at the end of a wedding day because I'm constantly trying to solve micro problems
Yep.
of, okay, if she's running down, and we actually had a bride in October that literally ran down the aisle.
Sprinted down the aisle.
Sprinted.
Yeah, it was insane.
Both of us still got like 8 frames of her,
Yeah.
which is remarkable because I don't shoot on a high shutter speed or on a high
Frame rate.
frame rate. Thank you at all.
Yeah.
So like there's a little bit of a click, 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 right? We both got a bunch of shots of her. But the thing that I did not get was the groom looking at her,
Yeah.
because I would have had to sacrifice whatever the culmination of them coming together was if I had done this and then I'd have to turn.
Yeah.
And you were there, you
Yeah.
know, so you're able to get the shot from a different angle, which was phenomenal. But like personally, if I'm the bride in this scenario,
Yeah.
and I get a gallery where I can, even if I can't tell that it's AI, but I know that that's not what his face did, because most grooms actually don't have what AI would consider the reaction photo.
I believe that.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like most grooms don't have the crying, emotional, like, oh my gosh moment. And I feel like if you were to put in AI groom looking at his bride,
And when they do cry, it's usually like
it's not a cute face, or it's like, yes.
it's this like snotty, holding the bridge of their nose kind of look, and
Covering
they just
their
look
face.
miserable. It looks like they're in pain.
Pain, actually.
and it's
It
not
looks-
something that Midjourney or any other of these AI apps would recognize as a photo that we want
Reality.
or realistic.
Yeah.
They're looking for the Hallmark version of that, which is like single tear holding it back, like
It
soldiers.
would literally look like somebody hot glued a tear on their cheek.
Yes, mercury running down their fucking face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if you are either a newer photographer or just a photographer that needs the reminder,
Yeah.
we are not hired to document every moment like you're a human 360 camera.
No.
You are there to capture the best that you can in every moment.
The reality of what
and
you can.
making judgment calls at all times. Where should I be and when should I be there? I think that comes down to if you're a single photographer and you have to decide, should I go to cocktail hour
Yeah.
or should I stay and do some extra portraits with the couple? That's only something you can know based on your conversations with the client, what
Yeah.
you think that they would want, who they are and where you should be. Anyways,
Devil's advocate, though, to defend this photographer in case this is the
absolutely.
case. I'm wondering if it's not the bride or groom or family member who requested this AI image.
If they did,
Interesting.
by all means, boo, I would create the most insane scenario for them.
Were they in a circus tent? Because they should be.
I've
them in a
had
circus.
actually quite close to this
Have you?
somewhat recently,
Okay.
and it wasn't AI. Well, I did do a lot of AI on this shoot, but I did an extended family shoot
Oh, right.
with a few different immediate families.
Yeah.
Like a classic extended family
You've done
shoot.
a few of these before.
You know,
Yeah.
parents and then a couple of immediate families
Yeah.
making up this massive family.
Extended family.
And I always try to bring my own style into this setting, so it doesn't just look like a Sears Portrait Studio extended family
Right.
shoot. You know, there's
Right.
no chairs.
No.
We're not sitting. We're going out to like a farm or a nice field somewhere
Yeah.
or a cityscape, whatever, and doing like a chill family shoot. But I had a client that came back with like 30 face swap requests.
Wow.
And I'm always happy to oblige if I can.
Sure.
But at some point you have to say, this isn't reality. These are toddlers we're talking about. So
Yeah.
actually the one shot, it's like 10 of them in
Okay.
a row. Okay, 10 people.
Yep.
More than half the people in the photo are children.
Hmm.
And so some of them are looking down, some of them are looking this way. It's a cute photo. It's a cute moment. They're all hanging out
Yeah.
together. But they wanted everybody to look at the camera.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it literally looked like I had Midjourney make me a family because they're gorgeous people. They dressed immaculately. The
Just
lighting
weird
was
faces?
perfect.
Okay.
But no, I face swapped photos of every kid from a photo where they were looking directly at the camera into this photo.
Was it weird?
So first of all, their bodies are sometimes turned
Yeah.
weird and then their faces are turned. But it just looks so unnatural because it wasn't natural. Because in no world can you ever get 10 people looking at a camera at the exact same time when half of them are under the age of 5.
It's possible.
Like it's
It's
not
a-
going to happen.
heroic feat.
So if anybody
Yeah.
sees it, they're going to be like, it's weird and I
Uncanny
don't know
valley?
why.
Kind of uncanny
Yes,
valley?
It's
Yeah.
weird and I don't know why, right? Is how it's going to feel. But if the client asks for it and you can make them happy,
Yeah.
it's not going up on my walls.
Oh God, no! Don't post this anywhere. If you're the photographer watching this, bury this in your gallery. Make it like a hidden thing only the client can see.
And I had like a little educational moment with her afterwards, being like, I think moving forward we should just maybe do some immediate family photos together because
Yeah.
like this isn't my dream come true.
No.
But I'm always happy to make them happy because they've
Yeah.
been my clients for years. But I was like, anyways, that's my long story long. Now let's get into making 2025 your bitch, all right?
Let's do it. I'm
Again,
going
so
go
sorry
through
to my
phone.
family.
That's
I'm
okay. Sorry,
such
Mom.
a swearer.
We made some notes because we're note making people. We like to work off a script to make it easy for you and easy for us. Let's talk about number 1 with a bullet: preferred partnerships.
Absolutely. Preferred partnerships.
We
So
are both preferred vendors at several locations locally.
we are.
All the
Tim, you just got added to another one.
I did somehow. I didn't know
Remarkable.
what was happening until I was told by a planner. So that was exciting. Yeah, we're preferred at all the Pearl venues in town, Langdon Hall, and now I'm added to
Here at
Roseville, which is
Roseville.
interesting.
I'm at
Amazing.
Four Fathers Brewing, which
Fathers
is really
Brewing,
random
yeah.
because they don't do a ton of weddings. So whenever
Okay.
they do one, I get the inquiry.
That's
Like I
amazing.
almost always get the call, which
Yeah.
is really fun. I'm trying to think where else I'm a preferred vendor at all the Stella & Co.
Yes.
venues, which
Yes,
is
you
really
are. That's
lovely.
right.
Yeah. I'm like they're my little Tamagotchis and I have collected them all.
Yes.
And I like to keep them all alive with like little like kudos on their
Yeah.
Instagrams and
Little-
stuff. You know, like, hi, I'm still here.
I'm alive. It's still shooting.
Yeah, you have to give them sunlight and water.
Yes,
These
yeah.
relationships are important.
Yeah. Gotta let it grow.
And I would agree with you that that's probably numero uno.
It's number 1, I think. It's incredible as a sales funnel for any photographers. They're your advocates. They're talking to the couples. Usually couples book a venue first to get the date settled, and then they go after things like photographer, DJ, videographer, officiant, planning, florals, decor, food if they have to. All those things kind of come secondary, tertiary, fourthuary to the venue itself. So having the venue on your side and being on a list that they can give to the couples, like, hey, you've probably never done this before. Here's who we recommend, who
Yeah.
works really well, who's been here before, who will not, fail on you.
Yeah.
Will not pink,
In an
pink
ideal
champagne
world.
on you. That story's coming up, by the way, in 2025. We've done a bit of research on that. So
We
we're excited
do
to
have-
share
yeah,
that. But that's a digression again.
We do no, literally. I digress. We do have. This is a perfect point for a little
Okay.
teaser here,
Yes.
actually. So Tim and I have been speaking to some of the past clients, and I'll go ahead and say it: the victims of
Current
this
clients.
photographer, who's I believe their last known business name is called Pink Champagne.
Yes.
We have taken our sweet time on it. First of all, because our clients and our businesses are always coming first, but also because we really want to make sure that we get the story straight. But if you're an Ontario photographer
Yeah.
or an Ontario client, you've probably heard about this photographer that has become extremely well known
Yeah.
for basically fire festivaling their entire business and all of their wedding clients in a big way, in a really big way. So we thankfully got connected to some of the past and current clients of theirs. And we are actually trying to get in touch with the photographer. So if you do know anyone over there, we would love to speak with them. Obviously, we're not journalists. This isn't CNN. Surely not Fox News. But we would like to have all sides of the story.
Yeah, give everyone a fair shake,
So that is a digression from, but if you are a photographer that's looking for the most legitimate stamp of approval,
yes,
a preferred vendor list is like the fastest and best way to get there. One question that I have for you actually on this, Tim, on the preferred vendor thing. Actually, I need to stop being on Facebook. This is another thing that I found from this Facebook group that I'm in. I'm going to add you to it because, wow, I'm learning a lot in not a good way. A photographer posted in this Facebook group saying that they had been asked to become a preferred vendor on a venue list.
Okay.
They said, oh my gosh, so excited. I've never been a preferred vendor before. That's amazing. What's involved? The venue came back and said, so here's what we're offering you. And just so you know, if you're listening to this and you have not done any sort of preferred vendor things, they're all different. For every single venue and every single group that I am a part of, every single one of them treats this differently. Some of them just put your logo on a site. Some of them put you in a printed magazine. Some of them talk you up in their meetings with their clients. Some of them have open houses where they'll give you a free booth, which is like a huge benefit. Okay. Some of them will hire you for their own events as like, these are our in-house people that we use. So they're all differing levels of benefit
and participation.
And also you have to look at it and say, is it a venue I want to be aligned with? That's like obviously your first question, right?
Absolutely.
Do I feel like aligning myself with this company?
Do I feel like the couples who book here will want to work with me in my bracket for my packages, what I offer, the style of things I offer? If you're shooting at like mainly like downtown Toronto, like big city stuff, and you get added to the list of like a farm, probably not the same vibe.
But maybe the farm is something that's going to feel really fun for you every once in a while.
Yeah, but couples look at your portfolio, they're like, you don't shoot a lot of farm stuff, right?
So give it some thought. Obviously, it's not a thing you just want to immediately say yes to. But the biggest question that came up from this posters thing on Facebook, they said, I've been asked to do this, and here's what they've offered. They've offered a booth in their annual open house.
Amazing.
A page in their brochure magazine or something like that.
Love it. Print material.
And added to their website as like listed as a thing. And then they're going to refer them to all of their future couples. Okay.
Let it rip.
And then they said,
oh no.
But they've asked me to pay $300.
Oh, that's not much.
And I'm not exaggerating, Tim, when I say over 150 commenters said, I've never been asked to pay to be on a preferred vendor list, and that's not worth it. And it sounds like a scam, and it sounds like, and somebody said it sounds like when you are a model and they say come in for a test shoot, you just have to pay for the shoot itself, and then we'll sign you to our modeling agency. So I can understand there have been some funny little scams going on in the industry for long enough for us to hear about that. But can we please take a step back from the Facebook group and use our brains for a moment? $300?
If you're really hurting for that much money,
you should take the deal if you're hurting for that much money, because
you're going to make money on that. I mean, I can't speak. I don't know the venue. I don't know the circumstances, but I feel like that is a steal of a deal to get added to not only an open house, which usually you have to pay to go to. Print materials are not free. The fact that they're talking about meetings is incredible. Like I would do my research,
website,
find out how many people are in this group. If they're getting 3,000 people to be part of this photography group.
If it's the world's greatest scam, of course not. But if they're doing an in-person open house, it can't be. They can't be taking 3,000.
This isn't phone book sales. They're not trying to this is a.
So I actually commented back because listen, when I feel like people are, this is honestly why we started this podcast. I feel, because when we feel like people are getting led astray by bad advice on the internet,
bad actors,
you just want to be like, okay, I need to know, first of all, who are the people commenting on this?
Yeah.
Have any of them ever been asked to be a preferred vendor?
Probably not.
Like, if somebody came to them with this deal and they said no,
they're probably not doing it professionally, Lindsay.
Is this your real job, is my question. Because take yourself out of the photography world, because sometimes it does feel like a bubble and it can feel like an echo chamber of opinions. And God, we're just another one over here, aren't we? But $300, and I do understand that for a lot of people, $300 is a lot of money.
Sure.
I am not, especially at this time of year, I am not denying that $300 American, so it's like $500 Canadian, is not a small amount of money. However,
you're a luxury product. You're in a luxury side of the world of business. Like you're luxury.
You're not a necessity.
Item. You're not a necessity.
People can get married without you.
You're not a farmer. You're not
We're
making
not
food.
making potatoes.
We're not making potatoes here. We're not McCain.
I wish we were.
I wish we were.
We make so much money.
This is luxury products you sell, and that feels like a reasonable amount.
If it was for one of the items in that package, I would pay $300 for it. Yeah. And listen, we have experience with this because when we first got added to one of the biggest groups in our area,
that controls like 8 venues.
When we first got added to their list, it was free.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not for you.
No.
For me.
For you, it was. Yeah.
It was free. Tim got added like a year later.
2 years? Yeah.
2 years like 2 years later. And when I first got added to it, it was free. We're just going to tell people about you.
Yeah.
But then they decided that they wanted to amplify the word about all of their vendors because they truly wanted to work with more vendors.
Yeah.
So they created a magazine. And so they created a magazine that now I'm sure is making them a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because we went from not paying anything to, I think maybe the first year was what, $1,500, $2,000 for like a half page or something.
Yep.
That year I did a full page because I was like, well, $2,000 or something like that. Like I was not happy about it. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that for free. I was not happy about it. It felt like this thing that I was just given before is now being charged to me.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours, one of the guys from 586 Music, said it very poignantly. If you can't turn $3,000 into $100,000, you probably shouldn't be in business, or I can't help you, you know? And I totally feel that way. It has to be the right fit.
Yeah.
If a local barn venue that I know has worse SEO, has less social following than me, and potentially less weddings per year than I shoot, they asked me for $3,000 a year to put me on their preferred vendor list. It would be a hard no.
Yeah.
If they said $300, that's a pretty easy sell for me still, even though I feel like, because $300, the return on that is like 10x for my, more than 10x for my smallest package.
And if you're in
it comes down to math.
Yes.
It is just simple math. I think that that's where our emotions get involved. And does this feel right for me? Does it not feel right for me? It is literally simple math. If that $3,000 can make me $100K, I'm going to fucking do it.
Every time.
And
it's not even about...
And it's effortless.
Yes.
It's literally... I mean, it's not. We do have to feed and water.
The chinchilla needs to... Not chinchilla, the chia pet. It's all about relationships too. That $3,000 is putting you in a room with people who can make or break your career at their venues, basically. They're putting your name in front of couples who already are swimming in a sea of oversaturated wedding vendors. So when they see your name pop up, they're like, okay, this person, and the person behind the table is like, you should go with them. They're great. It's a relationship building. They've
worked with us.
Yes.
We care about them.
Yes.
We bring them a bottle of wine for Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many benefits of it. So I would just encourage you, if you are coming up to this time of year, this is a really good time of year, by the way, to bring this up. So, because you have an entire year of past images to curate a beautiful gallery or many beautiful galleries for your venues and send them over. Follow up with a phone call. Do literally the most
phone
and
calls
the least.
Are so underrated.
And usually
incredible.
You have to find out who the decision maker is on the preferred vendor list. That can be hard to find out depending on how large the company is.
Yeah.
But even if you can get in front of a concierge that you usually work with, a salesperson that you know has maybe referred you just in passing in the past, it's not hard. Most people have their company directory on their website. So you could probably just reach out to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Make their life easier. Send them images.
Yeah.
Ask them if there anything you guys are looking for. Are you looking for winter wedding images? Are you looking for this? And I would love to help you in XYZ way.
Exactly.
If you can make them a reel, if you can, it's just like, it feels like monumental amounts of effort at times. And I get that because sometimes like making one more email and one more thing for myself feels huge. But think about your future self. The reason why you're chasing your tail right now is because you're not on those lists. So you're doing all the marketing yourself. You're doing all of this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
you can take some of that off your back.
Let the cheat codes come in for you.
So if
and
you're
trust
working,
us.
if you're working with if you're looking at established venues like something like Pearl, who owns several locations, do what Lindsay just said. Go to like the website, find out who you need to talk to, find out if you have any contacts there you can reach out to directly and say, hey, do you have time for a phone call? Can I send you some images? What do you need to help? make this easy for you to decide that I'm on your list. If you're working with a relatively new venue, this is something Taylor Jackson used to do. He would make a print album. Thank you very much.
Printed photo book. Yeah.
Printed photo book. He would go to the venue and say, hey, here's
with his name on it.
With his name on the top.
Print the shit out of it, of course.
Put your name on everything. And give it to him and say, hey, here's a bunch of photos I took of your venue from last year. And just work I love doing. Enjoy it. Put it on your coffee table. When you have guests, when you have couples come over inquiring, show it to them if you want. Let them know I'm around. I'm a local. And 9 times out of 10, new venues don't have lists. They don't have anyone who's like really done this. I guarantee it, especially if they're smaller and newer venues.
Even the bigger venues, actually. This has just given me an idea.
Okay.
I'm going to do this for a couple of the venues that are in the Pearl group that I know that they already refer me.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them a beautiful linen wooden banana photo book.
That's very
for
sweet.
each of the venues.
Okay.
It's just going to match their vibe. It's going to match their aesthetic. Listen, I know all their branding stuff. They tell us all of it. So I'm going to make it like a beautiful gray book with a copper Cambridge mill or a copper Elora mill. And then I'm going to make them a curated little photo book with
lovely.
Obviously my information in the back. So I'm not a fool.
You're a dummy.
And even if it's not on the main coffee table in their lobby, which honestly I think it probably could be pretty
If
simply.
you come up in conversations like, oh, we have Lindsay's
we actually
book.
have a book here. Do you
Oh my
want
God,
to
do you want to see
it?
Lindsay's work?
Tangible things, which
Yes.
brings us to another point of how to make 2025 your bitch. I feel, Tim, that a lot of what has been lost in the last number of years, blame it on COVID, blame it on the digital era that we live in.
Why not?
But the human analog touch has been lost so much in things. And I know we talk about this a lot, but I think that one of the best ways that you can make your business stand out in 2025, and not from a trend perspective, from a human need and a human connection perspective, is to bring things more analog.
Yep.
So we're talking Super 8. We're talking film photography.
Yep.
We're talking even an Instax. It can be something so simple.
A small printer you can connect to your phone on a wedding day and print out a few images of like before you leave. You know?
Like
Magic the wedding photographer does this. Gary does this from Rochester, New York.
Even if you shoot it on an actual, like my favorite is the Instax
the
square.
The
square one. I
dope.
absolutely love that.
Yeah.
It's so nostalgic and it's just such a beautiful touch. I think any way that we can bring back the analog touch to things, and that also comes down to image delivery. So for me this year, I almost want to have a follow-up call with my clients that have all booked me.
Okay.
And say, hey, like, I want to pre-sell you an album because I've seen how much it is important. First of all, I want to know what's coming for me as far as timeline required for these analog experiences that I want to add in, because of course the more analog we get, the more time consuming things become. I know, it doesn't matter how many AI tools you have. It does not matter how great your software is. Designing albums with another human being on the line is going to take some time. And so I would say if you can pre-sell, and this is a tip for all of y'all, but I'm going to do it myself, is I want to say that we contact the clients that we already have and say, hey, I know you currently just have a digital only package. That's what 85%, 90% of my clients have is a digital only package. Some of them get like thank you cards and stuff in there, but pretty much people get digital files. My happiest clients are the ones that do albums. Yeah. My happiest clients are the ones that get a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12 book because it's something tangible. And those are the ones that I see for newborn photos and maternity photos. And I see them years later and they've got prints all over their walls. It could be because they're photo people, and they truly care about their photos. But could also be because they have daily reminders of what a fantastic experience they had with you in their home all the time. And just those just tangible memories. That's actually what I wrote in my wedding photo album guide that I made.
Okay.
It says tangible memories, like something like that you can hold on to.
Yeah.
And so, I've just inspired myself. I'm going to reach out to all of my clients and say, hey, I'll offer you some special pricing so that because part of the issue is that I don't like to be, I don't want in July to find out that I have 5 albums to do when I didn't know that I had 5 albums to do. But it can also allow me to say, maybe that's one less wedding that I need to take this year. Yeah. Because I'm looking at another $5,000 in album sales. Yeah. So, wow. I feel like I just workshopped something.
We're learning so much about ourselves. And also it speaks to the fact that you're confident, and it probably will help them just be more relaxed on the wedding day to know hey, we're not even shot the wedding yet. The wedding hasn't come. It's in 6 months. Lindsay's already selling us on the photos that don't exist. That's incredible.
Yes,
They're going to love
I
you
do.
even more. It's another touch point, right?
And honestly, Tim, I'm happy that you see it that way, because I think, actually, even Tim, a few months ago in our conversation about like not upselling and how you felt like, it feels like Blockbuster.
Sure.
You have shifted your perspective.
Oh, totally.
Into being like, it is a service that people are excited about, and they feel like they've gotten a well taken care of now, instead of feeling like, I think past versions of both you and me would have looked at that and said, but is that too much to be saying, like, I know I haven't even shot your wedding yet,
Too much.
but I want more money from
The
you?
wedding industry is too much.
The whole
thing is too
goddamn
fucking
industry
much.
is too much. You spent
Lean into
$30K
it.
on flowers.
They're already
They're
spending
all
money.
dead.
They're already spending money. What's a few more, months
Why
of credit
would
card
we
bills?
not want to guarantee
Yes.
that our clients have something other than a hard drive? Like, just this past week, I had a client reach out to me saying, hey, I know you sent 5 automated reminders that our gallery is about to come offline.
Can we keep it?
But we missed it and now it's offline, and we went and looked and we don't have all the photos downloaded where we thought they were.
Yeah.
So of course I put it back online. I'm not a jerk. But the first thing I said was, yes, absolutely. But second of all, don't tell me you only have like 200 photos downloaded somewhere on a hard drive.
Yeah.
And that's the only place your images live.
That's sad.
I just wish that there was more there.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish that you had a photo book. I wish that you had some, I don't know. But I think that it is a service that we offer our clients, and taking pictures and putting them on the cloud the cloud is not real.
Cloud's not real.
Okay.
Leading into that, building on your own land. So not only just selling on the promise of photography for weeks to come when the wedding actually happens, like Lindsay just described, reaching out to the couples who you've shot in the past and saying, hey, print sale, hey, you look pregnant. You look pregnant. Hey, do you want to be canceled? You look pregnant.
Let me just first of all say, we never say you look pregnant.
I was looking for the words.
You look pregnant.
The words were, I saw that you are pregnant online.
Thank you.
We, Lindsay, I do.
Saw your pregnancy announcement.
Hey, you
Hope
look
you're doing well. Here are my packages.
I'll just go.
So, you know what? Yeah, I would say reaching out to people and building on the land that you already own is really important.
Very important.
The other I use the term building on the land that you own all the time in many different ways. The other way that I think that you can build on the land that you own, not just retargeting past clients by getting them on your newsletter and making sure that they follow you and giving them really good quality content on Instagram and socials and whatever that way. But the other way that I mean this is like, let's stop building on TikTok. Let's stop building on Instagram, and
Facebook.
let's start using our own websites and our own platforms to tell stories, which actually kind of leads me, I don't know if this is a separate point, Tim, or if this is another
We talked
one.
about branding, we talked about maternity, we've talked about family sessions in past podcasts, but I think that's something you should really lean into in 2025 is building on your own land.
Make more
and
money with those same people.
on top of that, jumping into blogs, right?
Yes.
Long form content
Blogging
is back.
is, I think, going to I don't think blogging ever really died. I think that anybody who has continued to do blogging has still seen really solid returns.
It still exists. It's just been more of like a micro blog in terms of like small gallery reels on Instagram or TikTok, or like
I've done some
posts.
like AI curated ones that honestly are fine, cheap and cheerful. They've gotten the job done, and that's all good, because I have been so focused on building on reels and on like my social media side of things. But just personally, I am going to be leaning more heavily my marketing efforts onto blogging, with socials being the thing to support the blog, rather than the other way around, because it just doesn't make any sense. If you haven't heard of the term evergreen content is something that is good year round. So, a Christmas episode of ours, not evergreen content.
Not so much.
Something where we talk about how to make 2025 your bitch, actually probably not evergreen content. The stuff that we're talking about.
It will be for the year, for the next 12 months. Yeah.
But evergreen is something that can be really useful all the time.
Yeah.
And your blogs would be that thing.
Yeah.
Because although your editing style might change and whatever, when someone searches a venue in your area, it's not coming up with a TikTok.
No.
It's not coming up with a reel you posted. It's going to come up with blogs.
Well SEO'd blogs.
Yeah. So obviously I have a focal website.
Me too.
There's AI. Oh yeah, Tim,
It went
I
live
love
yesterday.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
haven't even seen it yet.
Take a
I cannot
look.
wait. They do have AI blogging,
Yeah, they
which
do.
I think is a really solid starting
And it's
point.
reverse blogging too. They'll go to like an Instagram post and they'll make a blog from the 10 or 12 images you post on there. So
Literally,
they'll
which
pull
is-
from what you created on other platforms and then make you a blog post you can edit. And so it's like a jumping off point, right? It's not
Yes.
complete, but it's like,
It's there.
here you go. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, oh, you've already told the story. Do you
Yeah.
want to tell it in a bigger way? I think that people are probably really sick of
Doom scrolling.
doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And if there's something that can get them out of that and reading more, I dare to say
Mm-hmm.
people like to hear a story. They want to know, how did this day unfold? They want to see imagery, but they want to hear a little bit about it. And maybe
Yeah.
you tell them about your approach.
Yep.
Maybe you tell them about a special story that unfolded during the wedding.
Yep.
Maybe you tell them about, this is my, 20th wedding of the year or
Yeah.
something. Tell some sort of story that gets people hooked. A thing that I think about a lot is a few years ago, I had a person say to me, it actually, like, those stories that like keep you up at night. You're like
Yeah.
having a peaceful sleep. And then you wake up being like, remember that time that person said that mean thing to you?
Remember that time that Tim said you look pregnant?
Yeah. Tim, not to me.
Not to you.
Tim would be dead.
Just on a podcast, he said it.
But somebody said to me, Lindsay, you always have the craziest things happen to you.
do.
You
Well,
always have a crazy story. And
Not the
to which
crazy-
I say,
Okay.
we all have interesting stories. It's just whether or not you tell them in an interesting way. And I take
Fair.
this from my father, who
Okay.
my dad's name is Ron. We call him Rand.
Red.
And we call them Rand stories because my dad tells a great story. Probably part of the reason why we have a podcast, Tim.
Yeah.
And we'll have to thank Ron for it.
Yeah.
But my dad always had a great story, and he would take the most mundane of situations and turn them into a phenomenal story because he had fun with life, and it was just like a funny story that he couldn't wait to tell people.
Weaves a good yarn. Is that what is the saying?
Weaves a good yarn.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I don't
it,
know
but
if
I
that's
like
a-
that one.
yeah.
But I think that if you can take what could be deemed as the mundane
Yeah.
and weave a nice, beautiful story for somebody to read and enjoy,
Yeah.
they will find engagement in that. They will connect with you on a more human level.
Absolutely.
There is so much content being put out there. We have to reject content and we have to run far, far, far away from being content creators. Tim and I are content creators on a podcast. We're content creators for brands and shit, but we are not content creators with our clients.
No.
When my clients say, oh, like, we're looking for content from something, I'm always like, educational moment. You may hire a content creator and they might make Instagram reels for you and shit.
Yeah.
But your wedding photos are not content.
No.
Your wedding photos are heirlooms. There's
Yeah.
a very big difference here. So I think that the more that we can remind ourselves without being too precious about it, I'm an artiste kind of photographer,
Mm-hmm.
but the more that we can reject the idea that wedding photos are content
Yeah.
and lean more into them being the precious heirlooms of your family history that
Yeah.
they are,
The memories of your life.
then that's the better move, right? And the way that I think we market that is not by making 20-second reels with 5,000 fucking pictures in it.
Yeah. And those people exist. People want that. And maybe it's for you, but it's not for us. I
Yeah.
don't think it's the right thing for this
We
industry.
are not the cheap and cheerful either,
No.
right? We're not running and gunning shooting $500 weddings. So
No.
I think that it requires a little bit more care and attention. And if you're hoping to make 2025 your bitch and not be the $500 photographer, it just simply requires a little more effort. And today, listen, I'm not suggesting this. Sometimes feels overwhelming doing these kinds of episodes because people
Why?
hear this and they're like, holy
Oh.
shit, that's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
I have to create curated galleries. I have to call all of the venues in my area.
15.
I have to spend $1,000 and make multiple albums,
Make
and I
phone
have
calls.
to do all of
Yeah.
these things, and I have to do this and this
Yeah.
and this and this. I'm not going to do half the shit that
No,
I've come
pick
up
3.
with here. Okay.
Pick 3 and fail at 2 of them.
And also, we've done them all over many years of time.
Yeah.
This was not an overnight
No.
thing of us doing these things here and there. But if you wake up one day and you find yourself with 1 extra hour of time,
Yeah.
pick a thing that you can do. Maybe write these down and make yourself a little list of would be nice to do.
Scrub through the chapters of this episode, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and then pick one you like that resonates with you and seems easy. Don't do it because it's hard. Do it because it's easy. You know what I mean? Like something that's already kind of adjacent to what you do, what you know.
I think give yourself a quick win.
You're kind of like you have the breadcrumbs already laid out. Just follow those breadcrumbs and get it done.
What's the thing that feels like the most attainable thing? Do that one first.
Roll downhill.
That's always my recommendation. Like I firmly believe in doing hard things. I really do. And I know you do too.
Sure. Go to the moon.
Do the hard thing. But if right now, you know, this is not us telling you, you know,
boil the ocean.
2025 is here and therefore you need to become a new person. No.
Face off.
I don't want people to be feeling like, oh my gosh, this is an overwhelming amount of shit.
No.
I just think, you know, the more that we can shift our mindset into I can do that and I want to do that, the better off we're all going to be in the new year. So
absolutely.
One other thing that I think sort of parlays from the effort, would be AI. Okay. And we're going back to the conversation that we started this podcast with, which is maybe a good way for us to wrap this baby up.
Yeah.
You know, I know we talked about trends in another episode. We talked about past trends that we have seen and some things that we're predicting for the new year based on actually ChatGPT's recommendation of what they thought trends would be. And no surprise, ChatGPT expected that there would be more AI coming into weddings. What a surprise.
Wow. Job security, huh?
Literally. I also think that wedding photography is going to boom.
Yeah.
I think that the thing that will separate us as photographers in 2025, and not just photographers, business owners as a whole, is going to be our ability to utilize AI in a way that feels good and ethical and efficient.
Okay.
While making it easier for us to be humans.
Yeah.
I can immediately spot an AI newsletter being sent out to me. Yep. I can immediately spot a reel with a caption that was clearly written by my dear friend, Mr. Chat.
Yeah.
I do not feel that blogs and long form content should only be written by AI.
Yeah.
I don't think our emails should only be written by AI.
Agreed.
I use AI tools built into Superhuman to respond to emails that I don't want to give one more second of thought to.
That are ongoing conversations.
Yes. That I'm like, yes, I am available on that day.
Yeah.
I just want chat to look at my calendar and send a response saying, yes, I am. Or, yes, we'd love to set up a meeting with you. It automatically puts in my calendar. Like, yes, that's what I want to use AI for.
Sure.
Those are the tools. I want to use Imagine to edit my photos so that I'm not doing the mindless work of tweaking a million different things. I want to efficiency engineer those things so that I can do better work. So now Imagine has made that easier. Then I can use, you know, my own brain power to do more high-end retouching.
Absolutely.
Now I actually have the ability to do albums.
Yeah.
Right. So I think rejecting AI as an extension of you and your brain, I think is going to be really important. But then going back to our conversation with Chris Denner, and one of the things that I was really inspired by, and that is definitely going to be coming forward with me into 2025, is just more one-on-one communication, texting, calling, more touch points with my clients, letting them know I'm here. I don't want us to be best friends. I don't need us to be best friends.
But if it happens, great.
But I do want my clients to know that
you care.
I'm going to be there on a pretty important day of your life. And I'm probably going to see you half naked at some point. Okay. Yeah. So I want you to feel like if you all have a question, a thought, a concern, if a bridesmaid says a shitty thing about you, you know, I want you to know that. One of my clients for next year, actually one of yours as well, sent me a really nice DM the other day. I said, oh, well, like you look beautiful in photos from your friend's wedding or something like that. I forget how the conversation got started.
Right.
And she came back and said that the videographer at that wedding, Tim, you're going to die at this because you just did this. The videographer, the videographer at her friend's wedding asked her when she was expecting.
Oh, God.
And as photographers and videographers, first of all, the girl is not pregnant and she's also like tiny. Not to talk about people's bodies like it doesn't matter, but she's a very petite person.
Yes. Yeah.
So this videographer was just like actually like had been bonked on his tiny little head. I haven't killed him yet, but if you are listening, just know your days are numbered.
I'm coming for you.
I was so sad for her, but I really appreciated that she felt like we have had an ongoing enough rapport.
Yeah.
Her engagement is a little bit longer. So we chat back and forth on Instagram. Yeah. I comment on like, you know, her posts of her going to concerts and stuff. Totally. I tell her she looks gorgeous, whatever, because I truly believe she does. But I appreciate that now I know this one insecurity of hers. And then I could share that with you as the videographer to say, by the way, we go in there and we pump tires. That's all we do. And that's all we do anyways. It's not like a thing that I have to like say.
When you
she's
told
gonna
me
look
this,
stunning. But you were like,
I was like, I need to reach out to her and let her know that I'm not that videographer and that's not what you can expect from me. Like I immediately wanted to like, should I reach out? Should I tell her that? Like, I know it's a personal thing. She told you I didn't want to step on any toes and like jump into a conversation that's already happening that's not involving me. But I wanted her to like be reassured that I'm not that videographer.
Yeah, but the nice thing is in those kinds of conversations, if we didn't have those touch points, she might just sit on that.
I know.
And then maybe on her wedding day,
it's all she's thinking about.
She's going to be adjusting her dress in a
and
weird
she's
way.
Thinking about you weirdly.
And we're trying to figure out like,
why do you hate me?
And we're like, why does she not like us? And why is she so insecure? Because she's like really like should be very confident. She looks beautiful.
And then at 9:30 at night she'd be like drunk. She'd be like, oh my God, I was so worried about you all day, but now I realized I don't have to be. I'm like, well, the day's done. You worried about us all day and it's done. So we can't do it again.
And so it is nice to have like, that's just one example of the ways in which those ongoing communications are so important.
Touch points.
In not having like an autoresponder on my Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, I remove myself from Instagram quite frequently and intentionally. But I don't want to be the person that my client comments back to something on their stories and gets a, hi, you've reached us outside of whatever. That's an ick for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you do that. And I totally get everybody has their boundaries and whatever. But like, no one expects you to be on Instagram 24 hours a day. And if they do, just set more boundaries. Just literally tell people that's just not my life. I won't be there. But you don't have to have an autoresponder because I think it feels rather impersonal. But the idea that we need to reject ourselves from AI, the idea that we need to pull ourselves away from its literal artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, let's use our brains.
A little bit.
You know what? I'm inspired. When I drive home today, I'm not going to use Google Maps to drive myself back to the place that I live and know how to get to every single day.
It's like 2 minutes.
But you know what I mean? It's that. It's that reminder of like our brains work. We are smart people.
Yeah.
We can do hard things. We can intentionally reach out to people and can intentionally just be humans with each other.
People will find it refreshing. You'll find it refreshing. It'll be a better way to live your life.
And honestly, I just really love reading people's blogs when I can tell that they've written them.
Yeah.
Little imperfections here, funny little quirks that you do.
Yeah.
You put an apostrophe in the wrong spot. Like, by all means,
cute.
Be a freaking human. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Shoot Your Shot Podcast. We'll be back next week to talk about something probably important.
And it's going to be the new year. So we will see you next year.
2025, baby. Thank you. Bye.